You won't believe what I discovered while trying to help a little girl. My name is Sarah, and I'm a single mom. I never imagined that my life would intersect with a millionaire's daughter. But one day, everything changed. I was working my normal job when I saw her in desperate need of help. What I did next would not only change her life, but also open up a secret that most people would find absolutely shocking. Today, I'm going to reveal everything about that incredible moment that saved her. You'll hear about how a simple act of kindness turned into a life-altering decision, something that has never been shared before. In this video, you will learn the secret that I uncovered to help her out of her dark place. You will discover the power of unexpected friendship, the heartwarming bond we created against all odds, and how a single mom can make a difference in the life of a millionaire's daughter. And believe me, what I found out next will blow your mind. But first, if you want to see all the stunning revelations, do the following now. Like this video, subscribe to the channel because I upload amazing stories every week. Share with your friends who love inspiring tales, and comment helping hand below. Let's go. Ready? Then hold on tight because this story is so crazy, you won't believe it. Let's get started. It all began when I found myself in a tough spot. As a single mom living in a small town, I was just trying to make ends meet. It was 2018, and I worked 2 jobs to support my daughter, Lily. Money was always tight. Our small apartment showed signs of wear, but we filled it with laughter and love. I fiercely protected Lily's joy, even if it meant sacrificing my own comfort. One day, while working as a waitress during the late shift, I noticed a girl sitting alone at one of the corner tables. It was Chloe, the daughter of a well-known millionaire in our community. I recognized her immediately from the news. She looked lost and out of her element. Something about her sad eyes caught my attention. I could feel her loneliness from across the room. As the night went on, I saw her struggle to find a voice among her wealthy friends who seemed more interested in their phones than her. When she finally finished her meal, she looked up and our eyes locked. It was like she was silently pleading for help. I approached her with some hesitation and asked if she needed anything else. Surprisingly, her reaction was one of relief. That was the moment our paths crossed, a meeting that would lead to something incredible. In the following days, Chloe would come back, always sitting at that same table. I made it a point to check in with her as I served other customers. Slowly, she began to open up about her life, another world entirely compared to mine. I learned about her pressures, her family expectations, and the isolation fame brought. Despite her wealth, she felt utterly alone. Then, one evening, everything changed. As I was wiping down a nearby table, I overheard a conversation between Chloe and her mother on the phone. There were concerns about her safety and a threatening note that had been sent to their home. Chloe's face went pale, and I could see the fear in her eyes. I felt a sudden urge to protect her, to step in somehow. Who would have thought that a simple waitress could become a lifeline for a millionaire's daughter? But little did I know, the things I would do to keep her safe would pull me into a whirlwind of secrets and danger I never anticipated. As I learned more about those threats, I realized they were just the beginning. My involvement would lead me to uncover the true depth of the challenges Chloe faced, a darkness that could reach into my life as well. What I discovered next would change everything. As I got to know Chloe better, I saw her struggle to navigate her dual life, the privileged daughter of a millionaire and a girl yearning for connection. No one outside her small circle understood the weight of her isolation. It was heartbreaking. Chloe opened up to me about the secrets she kept and how her relationships were built on fragile trust. The more she spoke, the more our bond deepened. But with that bond came the looming threat over her life. One evening, as I sat down with her during a quieter shift, Chloe showed me a note that had been slipped under her door. It was filled with ominous threats that shook me to my core. My heart raced as I saw the fear in her eyes. That was the moment I knew I had to take action. I began researching, digging into the dark web of information. I learned about who might be behind the threats and connected the dots. With each piece of information I gathered, I felt a surge of purpose. I understood that I was not just a waitress. I had a mission. I became her eyes and ears in a world riddled with danger. I witnessed her transformation from a passive victim into a resolute young woman ready to fight back. During those days, I realized how pivotal my role had become, not only for Chloe, but for those around us. Slowly, I began to build a network, people in our community who could help. I saw a few individuals who had the power to lend their influence, wealthy business owners who held sway in social circles. The more I learned, the more empowered I felt. I wrote down names, numbers, and stories, creating a hidden database of resources that could protect her. I gathered information that would come to define our fight. Who controlled what, where the money flowed, and how relationships were built. I had eyes on the threats, watching their moves and analyzing their next steps. It was exhilarating to feel that I was making a difference. But it wasn't just about Chloe. It was about the community. I began to witness how interconnected we all were. As I mingled with influential families, I learned their struggles, their secrets, and their fears. I observed how the wealthy often hid behind walls, but even they had vulnerabilities. I saw how the disparity in our worlds forced commonality in our fights against unseen enemies. Yet as our connection grew, so did the dangers. There was a disturbing shift. Someone was aware of my actions. I could sense it. A shadow loomed, threatening the safety of my newfound friendship with Chloe. I could feel the tension, the whispers in dark corners that hinted at danger lurking closer than I anticipated. Just when I thought I was making progress and Chloe was starting to see a way through the chaos, I received an anonymous message warning me to stop meddling in things beyond my understanding. My heart skipped a beat. Was our safety really at risk? Unbeknownst to me, this was just the beginning of a perilous journey that would test our friendship and resolve. What I found out next would send us spiraling into a world filled with secrets that could change everything. And the moment that changed everything arrived. The day I discovered the truth that saved Chloe, the millionaire's daughter. It was February 23rd, 2019. I was working my usual late shift at the diner when I received a frantic text from Chloe. Meet me at the old park at midnight. I need your help. My heart raced as I read those words. It was a place where we often met, a sanctuary away from the chaos of her world. But now it suddenly felt like the eye of a storm. At 11:55 p.m., I arrived at the park, my breath visible in the cold night air. I saw Chloe standing by the old swing set, her face illuminated by the pale moonlight. She looked terrified. I rushed to her side. What happened? I asked, my voice urgent. She took a deep breath and handed me a folded piece of paper. I found this on my car. It's a threat, Sarah. As I unfolded the note, my hands trembled. The words were chilling. Stay away from what doesn't concern you, or else. The look on Chloe's face twisted my stomach into knots. This was no mere prank. It was a warning. That moment became the pivotal point of my resolve to protect her. Over the previous weeks, I had pieced together whispers of danger surrounding Chloe. Fighting against my instincts to walk away, I made a decision. I would uncover who was tormenting her and why. My heart raced with urgency and determination. I promised Chloe that I would help her and immediately began laying the groundwork for our investigation. The following days were filled with clandestine meetings and careful observations. I learned that Chloe's father had been involved in questionable deals that not only endangered his reputation, but also put Chloe in the crossfire. As I dug deeper, I discovered that a powerful figure from her father's past had resurfaced with an axe to grind. Marco Sanchez. Marco was a shark in the business world, and I quickly realized he wanted retribution for a deal gone wrong. I learned that Chloe's family had cut ties with him, and now he was looking for revenge by threatening the one person that could hurt her father. It was then I came across a list of transactions and shady dealings that went back years, ones that had directly involved Marco. Even if the results could endanger my life, I felt the weight of responsibility for Chloe. The papers had names, dates, and dollar amounts that painted a vivid picture of the corruption lurking in her father's empire. On March 1st, 2019, I saw it all laid out. Marco Sanchez had bribed city officials to overlook zoning laws on several developments, each yielding profits nearing $10 million. He had an informant within Chloe's father's circle who had been leaking crucial information. And the most shocking finding, Chloe's family had paid off $2 million in hush money to keep their past dealings under wraps. But as I contacted a few trusted individuals who could help us challenge these threats, the walls started closing in. On March 5th, I received an ominous call from an unknown number. "Back off and stay out of this, or you'll regret it," the voice growled. Panic surged through me. Someone was watching us, and with every step I took to help Chloe, I risked dragging us both into deeper danger. Despite the threats, we couldn't turn back now. As I shared my findings with Chloe, she looked at me with grateful yet fearful eyes. The tension between us highlighted how perilous our situation had become. What I revealed next would put her father's legacy on the line and challenge everything we thought we knew about safety and trust. Soon afterward, I arranged for a meeting with the community's most influential business owners, a desperate attempt to gain allies against Marco Sanchez. But just as we sat down to discuss plans, I noticed shadows lurking at the edges of the cafe where we met. They were watching, waiting. My heart dropped as I realized that Marco's reach was not just a threat. It was close enough to unravel everything. The stakes were rising, and I feared for both our lives. With each passing day, the danger grew, and my gut told me we were running out of time. What I never expected was how close we would come to losing everything. That night, when we left the cafe, I received another anonymous text. "Tonight is the night. You won't see tomorrow." It sent chills down my spine. Chloe glanced at me, her eyes wide with fear. What came next would test our limits, leading us into a world filled with deception and danger, all to protect her from a fate darker than we could have imagined. Would we be able to expose the truth before it consumed us? The clock was ticking, and we were both on borrowed time. After revealing all that, my life changed forever. The moment I uncovered the truth about Marco Sanchez and shared it with Chloe. The fallout was immediate and devastating. Within 24 hours, things spiraled out of control. News of Chloe's family's shady dealings spread like wildfire among influential circles, and I became the unintentional whistleblower in a game far bigger than I could have ever imagined. The consequences hit quickly. Legal action. The moment the scandal broke, Chloe's father, desperate to suppress the truth, hired a battalion of lawyers. They served me with a cease and desist order, threatening me with defamation charges if I didn't recant my statements. I was suddenly thrust into a legal nightmare, unsure of what would come next. Threats and intimidation. Within hours, my phone lit up with untraceable calls. Voice distortions and threatening messages left me rattled. "You should have kept your mouth shut," one chilling message warned. I felt the weight of my decision settling over me like a storm cloud. Vandalism. As if the threats weren't enough, I returned home one night to find my car vandalized. The words, "Stay out of it," spray painted across the windshield. My heart raced. I was scared, not just for myself, but for Lily. What if they targeted her next? The authorities jumped into action once the media got wind of the story. They called me in for questioning, but rather than offering protection, they pressed me about my sources. It felt like they wanted to silence me rather than support me. The FBI even included me in their investigations, but made it clear, you're in over your head. They pushed me to retract my statements, offering financial compensation that I refused. I wouldn't back down, no matter the cost. Chloe's world imploded too. Her father lost several business deals within the first week because of the scandal. The tide of public opinion turned, and the pressure on the Sanchez family was unrelenting. The result? Arrests. Within days, authorities arrested Marco Sanchez along with several accomplices. They were charged with corruption and blackmail. But in all the chaos, Chloe's father was implicated as well, diminishing his empire and obliterating his status in the community he once dominated. The media storm became a relentless barrage. Headline after headline critiqued the Sanchez family, and Chloe, my friend, was not spared. Although she tried to maintain a brave face, I could see the anguish in her eyes. She was labeled the millionaire's daughter caught in corruption. But then something unexpected happened. As I lay low, trying to navigate through the chaos, more whistleblowers emerged. Former employees of the Sanchez family started to come forward, each sharing their experiences of corruption and intimidation. It was clear this was only the beginning of something much bigger. But the worst part was yet to come. After weeks of spiraling anxiety, I received another threatening message. Back off, or you'll regret it. This time it wasn't just about me anymore. It involved Chloe. I felt the walls closing in, and I realized that this fight to save her might very well turn into a battle for our very lives. As I prepared to confront our next steps, a knock at the door startled me. My blood ran cold. Who could it be? Was it the authorities, or was it someone sent to silence us once and for all? I took a deep breath, knowing we were about to step into deeper darkness. After revealing all those secrets, my life plunged into chaos, unlike anything I had ever faced. The events that followed were beyond my imagination. On April 15th, 2019, I found myself standing in front of a courtroom. It had been 3 weeks since the explosive revelations about the Sanchez family surfaced, and the repercussions were far-reaching. I was officially a witness and a target all at once. Chloe, with a brave face, sat beside me, a blend of fear and support illuminating her eyes. The weight of everything we had been through hung heavily in the air. I had tried to lay low, but my phone never stopped buzzing with threats. "You can't silence the truth," I told myself repeatedly, trying to find courage amidst the fear. Just the night before, I received a chilling message. "Your time is running out." I knew I needed to stay strong, for myself and for Chloe. We entered the courtroom, and to my surprise, I saw a host of media representatives clamoring for details outside. The hunger for the story was palpable, and I felt the pressure mounting. This was it. This was my last attempt to protect Chloe and reveal the truth. As the proceedings began, I prepared to deliver my testimony, determined to stand firm. The defense team for the Sanchez family was ruthless, trying to paint me as a liar, desperate to discredit my findings. I held my ground, recounting everything I had uncovered. Each word I spoke felt like a declaration, each revelation piercing through the thick veil of deception that had cloaked Chloe's world. But then, the definitive fall arrived. At the precise moment I divulged a critical detail, how Marco Sanchez had manipulated contracts to keep Chloe's family under his thumb, there was an explosive commotion at the back of the room. A figure rushed in, shouting that I was putting countless lives in danger. The tension escalated into chaos as security rushed the scene, and the judge called for order. I could see panic in Chloe's eyes, and I realized that the storm had finally caught up with us. Later that day, I received an urgent call from Chloe. "They're coming after you. We need to hide." It was a desperate plea, echoing the fear we both felt now that the truth was out there. We had hoped for protection, but instead it felt like we had put a target on our backs. With heavy hearts, we devised a plan to escape. As we slipped away from the courthouse, fear pushed us into the shadows. But then, another truth emerged. I discovered that several other whistleblowers were also targeted. They had faced consequences too, some going into hiding, others threatened into silence. This was a network of fear, and I had unwittingly become part of it. On April 20th, 2019, while we were tucked away in a safe house provided by some of the community allies I had reached out to, I received a final bombshell. A video surfaced online featuring Chloe's father making deals with Marco Sanchez, evidence that could unravel the very fabric of their empire. And there I was, the catalyst, the witness who had unleashed it all. It wasn't just about me anymore. It was about justice for Chloe and everyone who had been bullied by the powerful. Yet the looming danger was real. We were still unprotected, and enemies were now closing in on both Chloe and me. The biggest revelation came as I prepared to testify again. If I didn't stand up now, everything we worked for would be for nothing. I had uncovered corruption not just within Chloe's family, but in a broader network that endangered countless others. This is not just about saving one girl's life. It's about changing the system, I thought. So, after revealing everything, my path was clear. Against all odds, I had to confront the very shadows that threatened our lives. Prepare for final reflections? Yes. But first, we had to survive the storm we unleashed. And that is how revealing the truth about the Sanchez family's corruption saved Chloe, the millionaire's daughter, and transformed my life forever. On that fateful day in the courtroom, my testimony opened a floodgate of revelations, leading to the arrest of Marco Sanchez and exposing the dark workings behind the prosperous image of Chloe's family. But it came at a steep price. My life was turned upside down, facing threats and intimidation as I fought for justice. Today, in 2025, I remain in a safe location, still under protection, as I share my story as a witness. Chloe and I both emerged from that tumultuous period stronger, yet the impact of those events still lingers. Chloe has found a way to rebuild her life, advocating for transparency and justice, proving that even in wealth, there can be deep shadows that need to be illuminated. This experience teaches us that the price of telling the truth can be daunting. It can cost us our safety, our peace, and even our relationships. Yet, it also shows that some secrets are too important to remain hidden. Taking a stand for what is right can change lives, just as it changed mine. If this story resonated with you, please like this video as it helps the channel grow. Subscribe and hit the bell for more incredible stories like this every week. Share this with anyone who loves meaningful tales, and comment below. Do you think I did the right thing by revealing this? I truly value your support. And if you enjoyed this, stay tuned for the next story about how the truth can transform an entire community.